Welcome, Wargamers. Join your hosts, Alco and Monty, two Canadian wargaming enthusiasts, as we explore all aspects of tabletop wargaming. We roll dice, talk tactics, share hobby hacks, and explore new tabletop systems, all on the Trident Wargaming Podcast.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Trident Wargaming. We're doing bolt action again this time around, and of course with me is Battle Buddy Jason.
Loudy.
Doing well today?
Yeah, not a bad day.
Excellent. How's the hobby front doing for you?
The hobby front is going okay. I've been working on Civil War epic guys,
Nice.
who I find super tedious to paint. But I'm just not used to that scale, and it is breaking my eyes. But I'm sure as soon as I see results, I'll get over my my slump and I'll be stoked about it again. But after painting them today and becoming cross-eyed, I'm a little cheesed off right now at the don't ask me about my hobby.
Fair enough. That's funny. Yeah, I know about the hobby front for myself is I don't know, my table keeps getting big large piles of projects that are kind of intermingling right now with everything. So half the time I'm trying to clean up my workstation in order to actually do stuff. So got to do a little bit of organization, but still trying to rock out on getting some Soviets fixed up and whatnot, and just because of our campaign, right? So
Yep.
Doing that kind of thing. And then also I still have the Germans, which are just an ongoing project. And I guess, yeah, some of the new Blood Red Skies that just recently picked up as well, the new set.
Excellent.
Midway set, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, that was the one, right? So take a look at that. Pretty neat little kit. Nice new miniatures in there. So yeah, other than that, besides that hobby stuff, I mean, we just had a huge game on the weekend for one of the other systems. It was like 6v6. I'm not even going to go into it. It was just huge. There's tons of pictures on our Instagram about it, but
Nice.
yeah, a lot of fun. Other than that, just keeping up with the campaign that we're doing, our Stalingrad campaign. Just keeping up with setting the matches up and scenarios and whatnot. So, which is pretty cool, and it also kind of brings us into this episode where I wanted to talk about pretty much veteran units in the world of bolt action, and
What did you call me?
yeah, you're a veteran. Just to see how much of a game changer they are in scenarios, even just a pickup game, tournament wise, that kind of thing, right? So especially like right now, I have a feeling that a couple of the guys eventually, after the campaign's done, there's probably going to be a few games happening for like some practice, because LVO is coming up next year. Seems like a couple of guys are wanting to go to it from the local community, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I saw two fellas are going.
Yeah.
I wish I was one, but
Yeah,
whole-
I'm still undecided. Just have to see how things go, kind of thing, and also which system would I be jumping into if I do go? Because there's always it's always cool gaming with the buddies too, right? That are going.
Yeah.
So put on the team shirts and win. So
That's where I just get the "I'm with stupid" T-shirt, but it's pointing up at me. Bwah, 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 bwah.
that's all good. So yeah, with going forward here with the veterans, are they a game changer? How effective are they? Points wise, are they worth it? And just kind of how you use them or build them in your army, like what you take and is there a combination that you do? Do you just end up taking in the infantry and like not taking any vehicles, that kind of thing, right? So, because I know yourself, Jason, you have a couple of different armies, and I know you have a veteran army.
Yep.
And I know in the past that there has been some events where that's kind of what you're facing is just tons of veteran units. And I just recently had a question from actually a co-host Bill. He was like, is veterans a thing? Is it the meta for bolt action, right? So I was kind of explained to him like, I don't really think it's a meta because bolt action is, yes, it's still a war game. It's a general versus general, but compared to other games, like a veteran unit in all armies is pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So 130 points. I looked actually today. I was looking comparing point wise, and it's 130 points, I believe, across the board.
Yeah, they're kind of around 13 to 15 points per guy generally, depending on what list, and that's pretty steep considering the average regular is about 10 points, probably 9 or 10 points.
Yeah, so 130 points is for like a 10-man unit.
Yeah,
because I know the Japanese can have a way larger unit, which ends up becoming like almost 200 points, which is nuts.
yeah, and that's without extra equipment. This is your bare
Yes.
men. Yeah.
So
Now
130 points compared to regulars, which are 100 points, I believe.
Yeah, around that, give or take, depending on the army, but pretty close. And then you're looking at like 7 points ish a model for 6 or 7 points a model for
Inexperienced.
Inexperienced troops.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I play a veteran army, my airborne, my British paratroopers, or technically Canadian paratroopers. And when I play my Soviets, I play heavily with the inexperienced guys, and both ends of the spectrum, and I do average. So I don't know that it's the meta. I don't know that either way works. I think it's situational. Because I'll tell you, the veterans against a lot of infantry is going to kill. I'm going to murder your face. The veterans against a lot of templates are dead. A lot of firepower, it's hard to contend with. And yes, they're harder to kill, but it's really hard to survive. And I always say, people are always like, the first couple turns kind of think they got the game in the bag against a veteran army, or I'm playing against that veteran army and they're kind of in the dumps because I'm beating them when I'm playing against them. And then turn 5 hits and those veteran armies turn it around because you haven't been able to kill enough. And that's the thing. If you can't kill enough of them by turn 5, you've lost the game as the opponent to the veterans. So they really, it comes down to those last turns. They're great at like capturing and holding objectives. They're great at hitting those hard points.
Well, they're like when they bunker down, they're hard to dislodge. They're really
Yeah.
hard to dislodge. And like you said, if they're getting hit by templates, right, by, you know, indirect mortars, howitzers, all that stuff.
Anything that takes away that uh, 5 to kill,
Yeah.
which might be 6 in a building. Anything that lowers that, anything with a pen value that you're able to hit large numbers of, because they're not going to have big numbers.
Yeah.
And even a 10 leadership is going to fail.
Yeah, definitely.
So
And the one thing with bolt action though, like, it's not like you have tons of templates, right? So okay, so you have a, let's say, a mortar. Most guys probably have a medium mortar. You might have a howitzer, maybe 2, depending on what army you're playing, depending on how you built your army. But at the same time, you got to remember, like, the opposing force is probably going to be targeting those units too, right? Oh, you have a howitzer team there, heavy howitzer. Okay, I'm going to hit you with a mortar. Well, if I hit, more than likely you're going to be taking some damage.
yeah,
Right. But again, if the howitzer hits the veterans, yeah, it's going to hurt them. But it also depends on how you're playing your veterans, right? You know, if you're just going toe to toe, well, more than likely you're going to get smoked. But if you're skirting around buildings and using them as cover until a certain time of the game where, you know, you bust a move and get to where you need to
yeah.
go, that kind of thing.
And that's the other aspect of it being situational.
Yeah.
Is that it really I don't believe for a second it's a meta,
I don't
because
think
there's
so
so
either.
many ways to defeat it, and you really have to be careful because you don't have as many assets. So if I make a blunder and I get caught in sight of that, whatever that, heebie-jeebie, that guy with the twin auto cannons,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
freaking get hit by that mortar, or whatever, that's a unit gone. And depending on the size of the game too, my units are a bigger investment. Now I generally, when I play my airborne, I try to play smaller sized. I find that or I found I tried going for 10-man squads,
Okay, you're talking squads. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
and it's not good. It
Why?
doesn't work.
It just too big or too?
They're just too much of an investment in one area,
Okay.
shooting one thing. And especially with my British airborne, it's really about getting up close and personal,
Hmm.
and looking at them in the whites of their eyes before you snuff their life out of them. Uh, lots of SMGs, you know, uh, with guys running up and murdering face. So I can't reach out and touch people as harshly until till those later turns.
Yeah, and like, you have a big point there. Like, all the points sunk into one unit. I mean, now how many units are you going to have, right? Like,
Yeah. So
are you going to be like bare minimum where you have like 2 units and that's it, and then
yeah,
you
and that's
fill the
the thing.
rest,
Yeah.
right? Sure, they're all vets, but I mean, all you got is 2 units. You take one out, you're pretty much done, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if the opponent doesn't have, the tools to take them out, well, they're going to come in and do some damage, and or hold objectives, or maybe they have fanatics on them, or you know uh, different rules for them for close combat, stuff like that, right? Tough fighter, that'd be an ugly one. But
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I can see, because we've seen it in the past. There has been a couple players that they do make those lists where they do have the veteran units, and then they complement them with like lighter vehicles, so armored cars and stuff like that. So they may not be veteran, but their bulk of their troops will be, which is smart. It's a good idea. I just don't know. Like, I usually don't play like a full veteran army, right? I'm pretty satisfied with like regulars, and then of course you guys know me. I mean, I play Soviets and I play French, and it was like tons of inexperienced units, right?
Yeah.
But I see the benefits of having vets. Maybe one unit, just, you know what, this is the unit that's going to do specific task. They are going to get in there, get in dirty, and try to do some damage on one section, kind of thing, or they're in a transport and they're zipping up there, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like you do that all the time with your transports and whatnot, and I'm pretty sure Dusty does that too with his. So I don't know. I like to have multiple options on the board in order to deal with tactics, or deal with like objectives or sections of the board where I need those units, right? And having a huge amount of infantry on the board is great. Might not be the best infantry, but usually I can get them around, get onto objectives, force the opponent to have to maneuver, and then if it's one of those missions where you gotta go destroy the opponent's HQ on the other side of the board, then you can flank with a couple of units and force the opponent's hand, right? But if they're veteran, well, you only have so many avenues to go, right? It's so many of them. So smaller size, it's probably. It does work for you a few times. I've seen you pull out a win with that army. Or you have like 6 guys and you lose 2 of them, and you just can't kill them. They're tough, right?
Yeah.
And then you have with them too is like their weapon options. They're pretty much the cream of the crop, right? They tend to have a lot more options for SMGs.
Yeah.
And then maybe multiple LMGs. I'm not too sure. Depends on the unit, I guess, which is part of the game, right? Part of building process.
You see, and I play, my veteran army is airborne, so I'm actually I have lots of SMGs I have access to.
Yeah.
But also I'm super limited in other areas. So my vehicle options, for instance, obviously, I play themed, so my vehicle options are super limited. So I'm not bringing tanks.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
I'm bringing a Piat, and I'm bringing anti-tank gun. So it's harder for me to deal with those type things, or I have less ability to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's what I found, is that you have no throwaways, no whoopsie doodles. I guess I shouldn't have done that, and then you're still able to pull the victory out, because you do that and you lose, a unit, you've lost, a fifth of your army, or whatever, depending on the game, obviously, the game size. But
well, you don't have screening units, right? You don't have bait units where maybe the opponent will go after that unit that you put in a certain spot to try to get him out.
Exactly. So I think actually the all veteran army is fairly difficult to play, especially if you're playing it themed and it comes with other limitations.
Yeah.
The best way to play, I think, winny wise, is to have a mix, because I've done the all inexperienced route with my Soviets, because it's themed to what I'm doing, a Stalingrad base list. It makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea of those just mass hordes. But it's not a win in the bag either. Even when I outnumber the opponent 3-1, I still those rifles are terrible.
Yeah.
Those guys are
They are.
terrible. They
It's
die so
tough.
easily.
Yeah.
So
It's tough with inexperience, right? But like,
so I
go ahead.
oh, it's the mix that'll win you the game. If you're playing an army that allows it thematically, or just is it's allowed,
Mm-hmm.
go for the mix. Like you said, have the unit that has an objective. Like what is this guy's purpose, and
Yeah.
build it as best you can. And most armies have a similar style engineer unit, or load them up with SMGs and a flamethrower type unit.
Yeah, like pioneers, engineers. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that go balls to the wall and get her done.
Yep.
Uh, I
Like,
mean, but the flip side is there also targets.
like those. That's a unit. Like, talking about units, like that is a unit that I would try to make as a veteran unit for sure.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
A
yeah. There's
specialized
no
unit like that has like
yeah
a flamethrower in it, or maybe they have Panzerfausts in them or whatever. I would probably try to make those veterans. Bazooka teams, sniper teams. Those are kind of units that I would try to make veteran if
and
I could.
a lot of sniper teams you have to too. A lot of them don't have the option to be anything but.
Yeah, regular veteran, but it's tougher to kill them for sure.
Hmm.
Is it one? It's only one shot, and 90% of the time you miss anyways.
Yeah,
But when they hit, then they take out a critical unit, right? Like, bam, there goes that MMG. Cool. Your turn to fire me. Well, you're not going to kill me so easily now, right?
yeah. Which happens 1 out of 10 games.
Yeah.
But it's often enough that people are terrified of those friggin' snipers.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though they know how useless they are most of the time.
Well, it's interesting, deploying them and then like the counter deploy, right?
Yeah.
My sniper's here, and then you put your sniper there, and it's like, okay, who's going to get the first shot, in a sense, right?
Yeah.
But if you're a veteran now it's a lot tougher. So, so there's a pro on that. Obviously, a con is the price value of the units. Would I make certain other teams veteran? Mortar teams, I would not. Just simply would not. With rolling a 6 to hit, it's not worth it to me to go to veteran. If it's a larger mortar, like a heavy mortar, which like I use for my Soviets, I'll put them to a regular, just to get the spotter.
Yeah.
Right. But like a medium mortar, I'll usually keep as inexperienced.
Yeah.
Howitzer teams, anti-tank teams, stuff like that, they're usually pretty decently priced, even at regular. And they usually end up getting, most of the time, there's a gun shield.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like, I'll sink those points somewhere else. Right?
Yeah, totally.
So stuff like that. So regular, I'll usually keep them at, or like my French, I'll get them for free. um, as for vehicles, I have yet to take a veteran vehicle.
Oh, they're so expensive.
Yeah. If you're putting a tank on the board and it's a veteran tank, that is a lot of points. Lot of points in that one unit, which, as we all know, can be very fickle. Like, all it takes is the one shot and it lights you up. Boom,
Yeah.
you're done, right?
Or even forgetting that, even the fact that it might blow up, the fact that it might shoot and miss.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
it's
what do you got? Six turns.
Yeah.
So you got your gun, your main gun, which is the big threat. So you got 6 dice rolls, and then maybe it has a machine gun or 2. So how many shots is that really over a game? For how many points?
Yeah.
That's the thing, and yeah, I don't see it as being worth veteran, especially in a tank. It doesn't improve your save.
No, there's no
There's
improvement for save. All it is for pins. Um,
yeah.
you're still hitting the same, like
I mean,
for with your weapons, and honestly, like, the main cannon is probably not what you're going to be firing all the time.
yeah,
Like, if you have multiple machine guns, it's probably worth just firing those machine guns, right? Unless you have to take on another piece of armor, or you need to lob an HE shell into something, right?
yeah.
So
But there's way cheaper ways to take machine guns.
yeah, it's
So
there is.
you're paying for that big gun,
Yeah, and
right?
you are. It's but now
So
you're a mobile platform, right?
yeah.
So
Most armies can take like universal carriers or kind of things, jeeps or motorcycles.
hmm
So I'm just saying that there's better ways. If you're looking for the machine guns, there's way cheaper ways
yes, yes,
to bring them in uh,
then
on
just a
those
big tank. Yeah,
than just a big beefy tank. Because really, it's going to be those 6 shots. So you don't even have to kill that tank. It's just, what did that tank kill? Did he kill half of your army? Because that's what his you know that's what his tank is worth. Probably not. I don't think I've ever seen a tank kill half an army,
no,
or even a quarter of an army.
no. It's yeah, it's one of those units, right? Like, tanks are cool. Um, usually, the amount of points you spend on them, and if you decide to go veteran, you can find a lighter tank that will do the job just as good, and probably has some fancy options on it for machine guns
Hmm.
that you can apply, right? You know, we've seen some. I mean, we've seen some units that it's like it's a 2-for-1 choice, and now I have 4 machine guns at the
Oh
cost
yeah,
of this. Wow,
and
like
I'll have to say my best tank by far is a T-70. It's terrible. It's such a goofy little tank, but that thing has killed so much.
mm-hmm.
That little T-70 I have. Oh my god, I love it. I'll take it over T-34 any day of the week. That guy, my T-34s do nothing. That little T-70, he just murders. He just murders. He's so insignificant that people often like skip him. They
Yeah,
don't bother shooting at him,
they don't
and
see
then
him
he
as a threat.
kills.
Yeah.
Then he kills the Stoogs and
Hey now.
yeah,
Yeah.
But on the same stroke, though, I would never pay for an inexperienced tank either.
No.
Unless it fits the theme, because I have paid for an experience to fit the theme.
Yeah, it all depends on your scenario, your game. Are you playing a pick-me-up game, like you just showed up at the shop playing?
Yeah.
Or are you going to a tournament, right? Like, maybe that's your thing. Maybe that's what you want, that extra survivability for your infantry, and you just like having a veteran tank because of, the pinning. That's cool. See how it works. Be interesting to see how that happens and what it does and how effective it is. But I think looking at some of the pictures of the armies that I've seen in the past at these events and tournaments, and it's like, there's no way that's a veteran army. That's a lot of units, on the board and on their displays and stuff. So, but other units like your commander, 100%, make them veteran if you can. We wish I'd be able to make like commissars veterans, but
True.
No go on that.
I've been thinking on the veteran point on officers. Actually, I'm thinking the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm thinking that he applies a modifier to leadership despite having whatever his leadership is. His leadership only affects himself. So I can have him cheaper and apply a +1 or a +2, depending on the level, to the troops around him, whether he's a veteran or regular or inexperienced.
I was just thinking survivability myself, right? Like,
So
those pesky
him
snipers.
being, if you give him a cheapo dude to go with him and hide him, because he just has to be able to see the unit, the units he's barking at, and within range, I think you could. I mean, obviously it's a risk, but I'm chewing on that. I don't know. I'm also an idiot, so take whatever I say with a grain of salt. But I have a 50-50 kind of average win-loss ratio here. So
so am I.
yeah. So, I'm just saying, anybody listening at home, I am not the Messiah. I am like, Bert from IT, who kind of dabbles. but these are my thoughts. I think maybe
they're all good points.
Maybe an inexperienced guy. The officers. I'm going to start trying that, because I was at the same point where you are with veteran for survivability, but then I'm looking, what can I get? Because the point difference is actually quite significant.
Yes.
On an officer for inexperienced to regular to veteran, especially if you take his PAL.
Yeah. So what? Let's say a second lieutenant. This is the Japanese army I'm looking at right now. Is 65 points for a veteran, 50 for a regular, and of course they don't have an experienced officers.
That's 15. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that 15 points is almost an LMG, or could be a small squad worth of SMGs, or can be tank hunters on a unit.
Yeah, exactly.
Those kind of things.
Let me look at my French here. So yeah, see, inexperienced is 60, regular is 75, and then a veteran. This is a first lieutenant. A veteran is 90.
Yeah.
And then it goes for the extra guy, it's 7, 10, 13. So
yeah. So that's a difference.
So that's a first lieutenant. Clear that. Let me just.
And really, like, your officer's not doing a whole lot of shooting, not enough to make the points worth it.
Huge point difference when you go to the lower class, the second lieutenant. So inexperience is only 35. Regular's 50. Veteran is 65. So 30-point difference.
Yeah.
Right.
See, 30 points is almost, like a Jeep, or I think that's like, like that's a MMG,
Yeah.
almost,
I don't remember. Can't recall if your officer has to be of a certain experience in order to have higher experienced units. I can't remember if I seen that somewhere on FAQ or something.
Oh, I don't know.
I could be making that up. I can't remember, but
It makes sense to me.
if you
Generally, I
guys
go
know,
themed. Let us know.
exactly.
Yeah. Generally, I go themed anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll do my officer at whatever the average, experience level is. If I'm doing that Soviet army with, a whole bunch of inexperienced guys, I'll do that officer at the same level.
Yeah.
My Canadian army, I generally do regular. For the most part, I'll have a unit, maybe a veteran. And my airborne, they all have to be veterans, so I don't really have a choice on that one.
See, I'm right now. I'm looking at, because I have my French list up right now. Right now, I'm looking at the Renault R39, right? Just a small tank, has a light tank gun on it, and it has a forward-facing hull-mounted MMG. It's a 8+ light tank. I have it here as regular, which is 130 points. Inexperienced is 106, and veteran is 154. For this tank, there's no way I'd go veteran. Right? No. Like it's not worth it to me. And that's just like, that's a smaller tank, right? Like if I go, let's go take a look at the char. Yeah. So a veteran char is 294.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points. Right? And a regular is 245, and an inexperienced is 196. So it's a pricey tank as it is. It's a heavy tank, to try to get through its armor. 9+ medium, but again, it has other perks on it that, not perks, but other traits on it that are not so great. Some of them are okay. So yeah, I don't know. It's up in the air for that. If it's worth it, I'm sure some players are like, hell yeah. Other players are probably in agreement, and maybe other players just don't, even give it a thought. Armored cars, there's a big difference for point wise as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a thing to think about too. Transports probably wouldn't go veteran. No. So it's not worth it, right? For me, at least. Infantry is where it's at, for sure, 100%. If you're going to do it, So, and maybe you guys disagree with us. Love to hear your comments on it and have your thoughts on the matter of what units you do take and don't take as veteran, and reasons why and whatnot. That'd be cool to hear. Post some stuff on it.
Yeah. Help me get above 50% win-loss.
Yeah. There you go. So, I mean, overall, really, it's not, I don't think it's, like we said earlier, meta. I think there's other things in the game that could be a meta. Maybe certain units from certain armies. The multiple crazy amount of machine gun shots from certain tanks. It's probably used all the time. But I don't know. Bolt action doesn't seem like a game like that to me.
I think you can pull it apart and find certain things, but I don't think it's certainly not as bad. I mean, it's 5% as bad as other nameless games.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a way. If there's a game, there's a way to break it.
Oh, 100%. And
It's
it's the one thing I like about it is it's not um, the gotcha moment kind of game, right?
no.
So
And how are you going to have army creep?
yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
the nice thing, like, and I can see why people, um, I can see why people are attracted to the game. One, historical. Two, World War II. You know, is it's probably the main attraction, right? Um, Tons of model range, tons of campaign books, a lot of info. So I mean, like you said, like I said, if you're a historical dude, you know, into the history of the war, and you love painting up the models and stuff like that, you know, it's definitely the game for you. It's fun. It's simple for rules. There's always going to be some gray areas in there, but um, overall,
I'd s-
compared to other games,
yeah.
yeah, no.
I'd say that each army is nearly the same
Mm-hmm.
and completely different.
Yes, yeah. The armies have their own qualities, their own, you know, national rules, own perks, stuff like that. Certain units, example, like the Russian engineers with the body armor.
They have
They're the only ones that have that, right? Like,
yeah, but each army has just enough different about it to make it feel different,
yep,
but really mechanically they're almost the same.
yes,
Like very few differences. Like if you learn, unlike some other games, if you learn one army, you've learned most of the other armies. Basically, there's a couple of paragraphs in a codex
yeah.
that
In
you
the army
have
books,
to
yeah,
in the army books that you have to read that are different.
yeah,
Most of the infantrymen are relatively the same. Most of the options are relatively similar. I mean, yeah, okay, you get a bazooka, I get a Piat. Is a bazooka better? Yes.
yeah. Stat
You know,
wise, yeah,
but
no, for sure.
you know, but other, I mean, it's really they're fairly the same. But having multiple armies, they all play so differently.
Yes, yeah. There's some different styles and mechanics to each army. So, and going back to like the veteran, maybe the veteran army works for your British, right? Maybe it works for, you know, like commandos, right? But does it work for my French army? Not really. Like I'm counting on having tons of infantry to use the benefit of my actual, you know, nation rules, where I get that free unit because I took 3 inexperienced units. You know, just having the bodies on the board, right? Um, Stuff like that. It's a pretty neat game for it. Guys can make veteran armies work. The one benefit about that veteran army, and this is on a hobby point of view, is just the low model count as well. You know,
Yeah.
if you're not one of those guys who like to play or paint tons of minis, or, you know, horde army, then more than likely you'll probably go to a veteran army, and you'll probably do fine with it. You'll do okay with it, and, you know, until you learn the game and learn your army. So again, like I said, I haven't done really a veteran army myself, and maybe that's a challenge for me to go and try it out, and see how it does for myself, how I use it. But played against them enough in the community and whatnot that you can see the pros and cons of what happens with the armies, right? So, but yeah, some good points and whatnot brought up today. So it's a good topic to kind of go over, right? Units like that. and I'm hoping that we'll probably do some more stuff like this. Maybe talk some more tactics. Kind of maybe dissect some units or even some of the books and stuff like that.
I just like, sorry to cut you off there,
No, it's all good.
but just try it.
Yeah.
Why not? It's for fun. So
Yeah.
bring out a veteran list if you have enough. I mean, if you have enough for a non-veteran list, enough models, you already have veteran lists
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Exactly.
You just cut the models in half, pretty much.
The other
Give it
thing
a
too.
whirl, see how it goes.
The
Try
other.
different things.
Sorry. The other thing I was going to say too here is if you're playing like the scenarios out of the campaign books, you might actually, kind of be forced to use that veteran army, right?
Oh yeah,
Which is
I'm loving the scenarios.
yes, so am I. It's been a lot of
It's cha-
fun.
it's changed the game
Yep.
for me. Like really, like pickup games are nice, but I would rather play one scenario game a month than 4 pickup games in a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I needed to do the extra work or to get the stuff ready, I'd rather do that. That's just where I'm at. I'm having so much more fun doing the specific scenarios, especially the ones that are, like you and I are doing.
Yep.
Man, am I looking forward to our next game.
Yeah, we need to set that up.
Oh yeah, we gotta rock and roll on that. We're a bit behind, but
Yep.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked for that game, and I'm stoked to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, I mean, getting into another book too. I'm having fun with this book, but geez, we got enough armies to
Yeah.
do half the books in the, in the friggin'.
Well, and that's just it. I guess we'll obviously continue on with the battles and keep them going. This current campaign possibly could come to an end this next round.
Oh man, yeah, the store campaign. Just so you know, people at home, the Soviets are getting murdered. Murdered. What has there been? 8 games.
Yeah.
And the Soviets won 1 game out of 8. Holy jeez. So we're at the point on the map. If you have the book, you should check it out. And maybe Andy will put like a wrap up on the Trident,
Oh yeah.
dupe and whatnots. But you should see the map and how he's done it, and he's shading off the areas that are captured. One color for Germany, one color for Soviets as the territories are falling, and it looks amazing. Except for it's disheartening because we're doing so terribly as the Soviets. That's the team I'm playing for. And right now, we have 2 little red spots.
Yeah.
Right? And they're both being attacked. And the Soviets finally got an attack dice. So we're attacking one other territory. So it's very possible, and actually more than likely, that this is the last week. But if we can get some victories, and this is why I'm loving this, if we can get a couple of victories knocked out here, we can hang on and start to fight back. Because this is how it's, everybody's like, oh, bummed out. We're Soviets, we're losing. But this is how it looked, and this is how they felt. Officers are fleeing over the Volga.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Everybody's having fun with it though, so it's good.
Oh yeah. We're getting our butts kicked in the greatest fashion.
Yes.
But I'm so excited. I think we're going to turn this around. Anyway, that's all. That was a long-winded way of saying we're going to. A, it looks good. B, we're going to turn it around.
So with this round, so those 2 territories, there's 3 matches in those 2 territories. So, if Germans win those territories, then they take them, obviously. If we defend, then we, hold them off. But if we lose those territories, it's all up to Bill, my co-host. So
Bill, no pressure.
His force is the force on the offensive for our side. So he's decided to attack another section, and it's a straight up even fight between the Soviet and the German forces. Thomas is who he's going up against. So
What scenario was that? Do you remember?
Verdun Revisited,
Oh,
I
Verdun.
think.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Verdun,
Verdun.
Revisited. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting because this scenario was played out before, and I know Bill has played it. So
Ooh, yes. Bill won that one. That's the one game we won. No, Bill lost it.
no,
Did he
he
lose it?
lost it.
No.
Dusty was the one who won our game on the first round there. So.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, it was neat when I was drawing the dice because, like, doing the victory points, Soviet side has so many points to go to even try to get close to a victory, whereas the Germans have just been racking up victory points. But we finally got an extra dice, and yeah, first draw was good. It was double Soviet, so we were on the offensive at least. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the results, see what happens, and there'll be a big hoorah!
Comrade.
If if Bill claims a territory, we'll be cheering and having the hero of the motherland, right?
We just have to hold off until we can get reinforcements.
Yeah.
Till that encirclement can happen.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun. Everybody's playing a different opponent. I haven't played Devon since my my demo match with her, actually, when she got into bolt action. So
oh, jeez, you're toast, Andy.
Yeah. I'm done.
We're doomed. We're doomed. Oh god.
And it's Pavlov's house.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be interesting. But yeah, no, that's kind of where we're sitting at for this episode and this week in the world of bolt action. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you like this kind of, chatter about units and tactics and whatnot, armies, hit us up. Let us know if this is more of the stuff you kind of would like to hear about and see. I would love to get messages from you guys and have some talking points and whatnot too. And hey, you know what? Send me your army lists. It'd be pretty cool to check them out too. See what you thought. Your thoughts on it, how you play it, that kind of stuff, right? So.
Also, we can steal your ideas. That I want to steal your ideas.
So what Jason's saying is, if you have a winning force that you.
Yeah. I need help. This barely literate, half competent gamer needs a hand.
But thanks for joining us again, everybody. And, again, check out our Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. And thanks, Jason, for always having some good laughs on the episodes when we're talking bolt action.
No worries, sir.
So, and everybody out there, keep on building, painting, playing, and we will catch you next time.
Giver.
Trident Wargaming. Build it, paint it, play it.